Most growers don't have a nutrient problem. They have a panic problem. Pale leaves and crispy tips don't automatically mean more feed, and they don't automatically mean flush. What's up, everybody? Welcome to MyRemy Live. I'm Joe, and tonight we're talking about one of the most expensive little mistakes in home growing: underfeeding versus overfeeding, and how people misdiagnose both. This episode exists because I see the same thing every week in the shop and in DMs. Someone shows a leaf, someone else says deficiency, another person yells toxicity, and then the grower starts adjusting the feed schedule back and forth. And I get it, you're not crazy. The plant symptoms overlap. They mess with your head. You're just trying to do the right thing, and the right thing sometimes makes it worse. This is not education. This is education, not sales. No miracle bottles, no scare tactics. Just how to think clean under pressure so your grow stops getting derailed by one bad guess. If you're a home grower running a tent, a closet, a spare room, or a small backyard setup, and you've ever stared at a leaf trying to decode it, this episode is for you. If you want a one-line answer with zero context and instant certainty, this probably won't feel satisfying. We're building judgment tonight, not chasing symptoms. All right, well, quick setup so you know what we're doing. MyRemy is our GPT-style growbot. It's trained on a massive body of grow knowledge, forums, user groups, websites, catalogs, books, all of it. And what makes it useful is it gives a very clear baseline answer quickly. Even experienced growers are often surprised by how structured and clean the response is. This isn't hype. We use this daily in our shop. Customers use it. The feedback is consistent. It understands grower language and gives grounded, usable answers. It's free on our website, gzgrowshops.com, along with free grow guides. But tonight is about the thinking process, not the tools. Let me show you how it works. I will flip my phone around, all right? And here is the website, okay? You can click on the MyRemy tab right there. It brings you right here to this page. You see the free grow guides, and right here is the MyRemy link, all right? This is where you enter your question, you type it in just like you would ask it in real life, then it gives you a clean baseline answer. All right, we're going to actually run a question through it in a minute. All right, now that you've seen how it works, let's get into it. All right, let's go. Before we jump in though, what's up everybody? Good to see everybody jumping in. Drop in the chat the weirdest place you've ever grown: closet, basement, attic, behind the speaker, wherever you made it happen. And tell me your default move when leaves look off. Feed more, flush, or wait it out? All right, question number one. Well, this is the moment where your stomach drops because you see two opposite signals at the same time. Your plant looks pale, like it's hungry, and the tips look crispy, like you pushed it too hard. That combo makes growers freeze up because whichever direction you choose, you might make it worse. All right, and here's the key. That mixed signal is usually pointing to something deeper than just more food or less food. My leaves look hungry, but the tips look burnt. Did I overfeed it or underfeed it or lock it out? And how do I make this worse? How did I make this worse? Let's ask MyRemy. I'm going to speak into MyRemy. All right, MyRemy, explain why plants can show pale leaves and burnt tips at the same time. List the most common causes and give a simple order of checks before changing the feed. That sounds like a good question. Okay. Well, all right. Well, let's walk through this like we're standing in the grow room together. You've got pale or yellow leaves, and at the same time, the tips or edges are burnt and crispy. That's a mixed signal, and it usually means two things are happening at once. The plant isn't accessing nutrients properly. so it looks pale. And something is stressing the leaf tissue, so the edges are burning. Now here's the important part. This can happen from underfeeding. It can also happen from overfeeding. So we don't guess, we check in order. First, look at the pattern. Where is it worst? Top of the plant? Bottom? Everywhere? Did it show up fast, like overnight? That often points to environment. Or did it creep in slowly? That usually points to root zone or nutrition. Change your feed yet? Just observe. Next, check your environment. Temperature, humidity, light intensity. If your top canopy is paling and the edges are crisp, especially near the light, that's often light or heat stress. High VPD, vapor pressure deficit, can dry those margins out fast. If you recently cranked the light up, lowered it, or had a heat spike, that might be your trigger. Fix that first before touching nutrients. If it's environment, you'll see improvement in a couple of days. Now, let's talk watering and roots. In soil, overwatering is a big one. If roots stay too wet, they can't breathe. When roots can't breathe, nutrient uptake drops. The plant pales. Meanwhile, salts can build up in pockets and burn tips. In cocoa, letting it dry back too hard can spike EC in the root zone. That causes burnt edges while the plant still looks hungry. In hydro, root health is everything. If roots are stressed from warm water or low oxygen, the plant can't feed properly, even if the reservoir looks perfect. Healthy roots first, always. All right, now check your numbers. In hydro, look at the reservoir pH and EC. Watch for drift. In cocoa, compare the input and runoff pH and EC. High runoff EC with burnt tips, that's usually salt buildup. In soil, runoff isn't always perfect data, but extreme pH or very high EC still tells you something is off. If the EC is high and tips are burning, don't add more nutrients. That's usually excess salts or imbalance. If the pH is out of range, that can cause lockout. The nutrients are there, but the plant can't access them. That gives you the pale leaves and sometimes edge damage at the same time. So, stabilize your pH before you change the ratios. If EC is high, reduce the salt load and return to a steadier feeding level. If pH is off, correct and stabilize. If the environment is pushing too hard, adjust the light, heat, or humidity. Only if EC is low, pH is good, roots are healthy, and the plant still looks pale, then you consider a modest increase in feeding. And even then, small adjustments. One more thing, damaged leaves won't heal. You're watching the new growth. If new leaves come in greener and clean, you're on the right track. If the burn stops spreading, you're winning. So the order is simple. Pattern first, environment second, roots and watering third, pH and EC fourth, then and only then adjust feeding. MyRemy going on to say, if you want to dial it in further, describe your setup or show a photo. The pattern usually tells the story. All right, well, that's the baseline. Notice what it's doing. It's moving you out of leaf panic and back into system thinking. Because the plant doesn't respond to emotion, it responds to root conditions and uptake. If you see pale plus crispy, the worst move is a hard guess. All right, look at this. The leaves going pale, tips slightly burnt. This is where people guess wrong, right? It looks hungry and overfed at the same time. And this is usually not a more or less question. It's an uptake question, all right? Before you touch feed, you need to confirm what the roots actually use. All right, so before you change what you're pouring in, you check whether the plant can even use what's already there. If you don't know your pH, you don't know if this is deficiency or lockout, okay? That's where people get tripped up. They confuse input with uptake. And one leaf is not a diagnosis, right? It's a clue. You slow down, you confirm what changed recently, you watch the trend, not just the snapshot. Now, question 2. Let's talk about the most common correction that I see. Growers don't know which direction the problem is, right? So we decide to flush just to be safe. Sometimes that's correct. sometimes that makes the situation worse. The issue isn't flushing, it's flushing without knowing what you're correcting, right? Let's pop this one into MyRemy. MyRemy, click on the microphone button. MyRemy, I thought flushing was the safe move. Why does it sometimes make the plant look worse 2 days later? That's a great question, right? I've been there. All right, let's talk about flushing. Here's the simple truth. Flushing only helps when the problem is too much. If the issue is too little or the roots are stressed, flushing can actually make things worse. Think of it like this. Someone's dehydrated. You don't drain more water out of them. Same idea with the plant. Now, when does flushing actually help? If you've been overfeeding and salts have built up in the root zone, flushing can reset things. You'll usually see burnt tips, very dark leaves, maybe some clawing. Runoff numbers will be high. In that case, flushing makes sense. You're clearing out excess and giving the roots room to breathe. But if the plant is pale and just slowly fading from the bottom up, that's usually underfeeding. Flushing there just removes what little nutrition is left. Now the plant is even hungrier. Then there's pH problems. This one fools people. The plant looks deficient, but nutrients are actually present. They're just locked out because the pH is off. If you flush without correcting pH, you're just washing the roots with the same bad conditions. Sometimes you even swing things harder and stress the plant more. In that case, a controlled correction is better than a big flush. And if the plant is droopy because the plant stays wet too long, flushing is the worst move. The roots already don't have enough oxygen. Adding more water just compounds the stress. So before you flush, pause. Look at the leaf tips. Are they burnt? Check runoff. Is it high or low? Check pH. Is it in range? And feel the pot. Is it actually ready for more water? Most problems aren't solved by dramatic swings. They're solved by small corrections. This is where growers get stuck in the feed and flush cycle. They overfeed, then they panic and flush hard. Now the plant is underfed, so they crank the nutrients and the roller coaster continues. All right, instead, make small adjustments, 10 or 20% changes, not massive ones. Watch the new growth, not the damaged leaves. Keep your watering rhythm consistent. Let the plant respond before you react again. Flushing is a tool. It's not a cure-all. MyRemy going on to say, if you're not sure which situation you're in, that's when a photo really helps. The pattern on the leaves and the condition of the medium usually tells the story fast. All right, well, this is where a lot of runs quietly lose momentum. Okay, flushing is a tool. Water by itself isn't the solution. It depends on what the numbers say. All right, if you don't know your runoff EC, flushing is just guessing. This is where the truth shows up, not on the leaf. It's in here, full of runoff. All right, so if the issue is excess salts or a hot medium, it can absolutely, let me flip the camera around, right here. Now compare that to this. Dark green, heavy leaf. Notice the downward claw. All right, that posture tells you that this is actually excess. In a case like this, backing off or flushing makes sense. All right, but this looks very different from the pale and burnt confusion we just saw. All right, but if the plant was already light, already struggling to uptake, or the root zone is stressed, flushing removes stability. The growth slows, leaves fade faster, and now you're reacting again. It's subtle, but that subtle stall is where yield gets shaved down. Take a look at this. Uneven yellowing, spotting, maybe old and new growth is affected. This is where the chart starts lying to you. When it looks like multiple deficiencies at once, that's usually a root zone or pH issue, not just more feed. What do we have here? Well, we have a two-way moisture and pH meter. Most of the time, this isn't feed strength, it's a root zone condition. Moisture and pH tell you more than staring at leaves. All right, this is where you slow down and stop chasing symptoms. The real lesson is not never flush, it's flush when you know why. All right, quick pause. I'm seeing a lot of flush in here. Good, honest answers. What's up, everybody? Let's see, I got some comments. Katie Fowler, saying, when it comes to leaf issues, I stop and think before I react. And if I don't know, I look it up, only if my environment is off. Very good, environment first. Crop steady. Certain nutrients are mobile, meaning they move up from the bottom. Exactly. Immobile nutrients cause deficiencies to show up. God bless that one. Katie Fowler going on to say, growing in pots with cocoa medium. You want a dry back to a point because you want to make sure the bottom of the pot dries out with every watering and feeding. Agreed. Love the tree background on your computer. Thank you about that, Katie Fowler. Appreciating my computer background screen. All right. Well, let's build the framework a bit here. This is the skill that separates steady growers from frustrated ones. See, most plants don't need a dramatic correction. They need consistent conditions and one small adjustment at a time. The hardest part of growing isn't mixing nutrients, it's knowing when to act and when to pause. If you internalize this framework, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding intentionally, all right? Inputs are easy. Measurements are discipline. MyRemy. How do you actually decide when to feed, when to back off, and when to just leave it alone without getting stuck in that feed flush yo-yo? Good question. Okay, MyRemy going on to say, all right, well, when nutrient stress pops up, the first thing I want you to do is slow down. Most damage happens because we react too fast. You're choosing between 3 moves: feed more, back off, or do nothing for 24 to 48 hours. So let's simplify it. First, look at the growth stage. If you're in seedling or early veg, plants are sensitive. Most problems there are from overfeeding or overwatering. In that case, backing off or waiting is usually safer than adding more nutrients. If you're in mid to late veg, the plant is eating aggressively, nitrogen demand is high. If lower leaves are fading and growth is strong, feeding a little more might make sense. In early flower, during the stretch, plants are hungry. Late flower is different. Some yellowing on lower leaves can just be natural fade. In that case, doing nothing is often the right move. Now look at where symptoms are showing. If it starts at the bottom leaves, that usually points to a mobile nutrient like nitrogen, magnesium, or potassium. The plant is pulling from older leaves to feed new growth. If you've been feeding light and growth is strong, a small bump in nutrients is reasonable. If symptoms are on the newest growth, that's different. That often means calcium, iron, micronutrients, or pH lockout. Before adding anything, check your pH. If pH is off, more nutrients won't fix it. Correct the pH first, then wait and watch. Next, think about your medium. In soil, changes happen slowly. It's easy to overcorrect. If you're unsure, waiting 24 hours is often the smartest move. In cocoa, plants need consistent feeding. If your runoff EC is lower than what you're putting in, the plant is probably hungry. If runoff EC is higher, you've got salt buildup. That's a back off situation. And in hydro, the reservoir tells a story. If EC is dropping, the plant is eating. You can increase slightly. If the EC is rising, the plant is rejecting nutrients. Dilute and ease back. Now, think about what you did recently. Did you just increase feed strength a few days ago and things got worse? That's not deficiency. That's likely toxicity or lockout. Back off. Have you been feeding conservatively and seeing gradual pale lower leaves? That's more likely a real deficiency. Increase by 10 or 20%, not more. And let's talk watering. Overwatering can look exactly like nutrient problems. Droopy leaves and random yellowing in constantly wet soil. That's an oxygen issue at the roots. In that case, do nothing. Let the medium dry properly. So here's the simple mental shortcut. If you recently increased nutrients and things declined, back off. If you've been feeding light and the plant is growing fast with lower leaves fading, feed a little more. If you're not sure or you just made a change, wait 24 to 48 hours before touching anything. Plants move slower than our anxiety. Small adjustments, clear observations, then reassess in a few days. That's how you stay in control instead of chasing problems, says MyRemy. Well, that's the structure. You're not trying to be perfect in one move. you are trying to avoid making it worse. Look at your medium. Look at what changed recently. Look at what symptoms are appearing. Look at whether the plant is trending better, worse, or stable. A lot of nutrient problems are actually sequencing problems. People change multiple variables at once and then they lose clarity. One move, one variable, give it time to respond. That's how you stop the cycle. So most growers don't ruin a run because they underfed once. They ruin it because they misread the signal and overcorrected. Pale leaves and crispy tips are not instructions, they're data. Decision-making beats tricks, consistency beats dramatic resets, and one clean adjustment beats 3 reactive ones. And remember, that mixed signal moment we started with, pale yellow leaves and crispy edges, it's usually not a simple more or less question. It's an uptake and stability question. Once you see that, your decisions get calmer and your plants get steadier. Real quick, shout out to everyone in here. I'll scan for some comments. Mike, what's up, Mike? Coming in saying, I'm in the situation right now. High EC in my RDWC. High EC, so what does that indicate? That your plants are not intaking the nutrients, and you might consider diluting that a bit. All right. So basically, anything else? Okay. Well, lots of familiar faces. Thank you everyone for joining on. If you're here live, I appreciate you. If you're watching this later, same deal. Drop your default instinct in comments. Feed, flush, or wait. And if you've got a specific situation you want looked at, drop it in the comments. If it's a strong one, we may pull it into a future episode and break it down live. If you're local or anywhere in New England, Green Zone Grow Shops is here for you. We built this shop around this exact mindset. Education first, pressure-free, real answers. Whether you need help dialing in a feeding schedule, troubleshooting a root issue, or just sanity checking your plan before you touch anything, that's what we do every day. You can use MyRemy for free on the website GZ Grow Shops anytime. And if you want in-person support, classes, or just to talk through your grow face-to-face, come see us. Green Zone Grow Shops, Worcester's Grower HQ. Everybody, thanks for being here. Real growers, real talk, no fluff. We'll see you all next week. Good night, everyone.